In this video, we're going to give you a little tour of Bearizona, which is a zoo located in Arizona, and of course they have bears there, but they also have tons of other wildlife that you can see. This is a great stop on your way to the Grand Canyon. Bearizona is located in Williams, Arizona, which bills itself as the gateway to the Grand Canyon. Williams is a Route 66 town. In fact, they boast that they were the last town that was bypassed by Route 66 in the 1980s, and as soon as they were bypassed, Route 66 was decommissioned. The town is only a few blocks long, and when you get to the end of the road, you'll arrive at Bearizona. You might think Arizona would be a strange place to have a zoo with bears and other wildlife, but this part of Arizona is really high elevation and very forested. When you arrive, it's immediately evident that this is not your run-of-the-mill zoo. This is a really well put together place. They've spent a lot of money on it. They told me I had to remove the wheel cover off my trailer because the wolves like to claw them off. At the entryway, you're presented with a choice between doing the walk or the drive. I believe it's most common to take the drive and then park and go in and do the walking areas. So here we are driving through the entry gate, and the first little area is for the mountain goats. Mountain goats are real cute animals. They live in high elevations and they have very few predators, but something I recently learned is that eagles are their #1 predator. Eagles will steal their babies. Up next are reindeer. So I'm learning all sorts of things as I do this video, and something I've learned is that reindeer and caribou are the same species. Also, reindeer are the only deer where the males and the females will grow antlers. Up next are the mule deer. Mule deer have larger ears and they just have larger bodies than the white-tailed deer typically. Up next are burros. Burros, just the Spanish word for donkey. We were real fortunate to see some of these in Custer State Park this year. Here they're kind of far off in the distance, can't see them very well. I think it takes about a half hour to drive around through the wildlife sanctuaries, but one of the cool things is they have these little side loops that you can kind of keep revisiting the same animal without having to go all the way around and start again. Up next are wolves. Here again, we're real fortunate to see some wolves in the wild at Yellowstone this year, but the great thing about zoos is you can see them up close. The park has 2 outdoor bear enclosures. This one is for the junior bears. These enclosures are for black bears. The grizzly bears are inside on the walkthrough area.
So Dad?
Yeah. Up next are the bison. Of course, we're in the West, so they have to have bison. But what's unusual about some of these bison is they are white bison. Their website says that white bison are a mix between bison and French cattle. I haven't really seen any other white bison besides here. This is a nice big enclosure. We drove through it a couple times to check out these interesting creatures. One of our favorite things we saw was this family of Bighorn sheep. And we were actually really fortunate to see Bighorn sheep in the wild again this year in Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. These animals, surprising to me, like to hang out in the desert Southwest. This was a really cute little family we saw. We loved it. Here's another bear enclosure for the big bears. They have a ton of black bears here, and they say that most of them come to them because they've gotten too comfortable around humans, and so they're dangerous. Now, a lot of those bears get put down, they're euthanized, but luckily places like this will save some of them. Okay, that's it for the drive-through. Now time to go through the walkthrough. So they have a building here with some animals and some displays inside. Of course, it's a gift shop as well. Here is a display of the Grand Canyon. This is really kind of a cool visual of what the Grand Canyon is going to look like. Of course, a lot of people visiting Bearizona like us are on their way to the Grand Canyon. Here is the Grand Canyon train. So there's an actual train that goes from Williams, Arizona to the south rim of the Grand Canyon every day. Here again, you can see the attention to detail that they've put into this place. It's really well done. This is the ceiling. And then here inside, they have some reptiles. So our kids were really interested in some of the reptiles that you can see in here. Outside they have a gathering area. You can listen to music and get some food from some food trucks. We always love watching the otters play. They have a little barnyard the kids can go feed the animals. It was closed while we were there, I think because of COVID, but they have just a bunch of animals here that you can walk around and see, just like any other zoo. Here's a turkey. We learned about javelinas, which I had never even heard of before, but they're kind of like pigs, but they're not pigs. Here's an enclosure for the elk. You can't see much in this video, but there are some elk there. One of our favorites was the badger. This guy just had ADD. He couldn't stop running around. He was kind of a funny guy. We just sat here for quite a while and watched him play around. Here again, the outside is really well done, and the highlight of the entire place are these 3 new cubs that they just received about 2 years ago, I believe. Their mother was killed in Montana. She attacked a hiker, I believe, and then she was euthanized. So she had these 3 cubs. Now these are Grizzly cubs, and they're just gorgeous. This is Hannah, Sky, and Crockett, and luckily Bearizona kind of stepped in to adopt these 3 cubs, and they built this enclosure that cost over $1 million to build this beautiful enclosure for these bears. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of Bearizona. If you're going to the Grand Canyon, I've got some links in the description for you. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. We will see you next time.